Today we're with Allison Jennings, and Allison's been with the blockchain technology for quite some time now, going on 8 years, I believe. Allison is the CEO of a company called Filament, which offers a blockchain solution primarily at this point geared toward the automotive industry. And so we're here today to talk to Allison about her thoughts around blockchain technology and that industry, as well as Internet of Things, which she has a specific focus on as well. So Allison, if I could start by just asking you, can you tell us how you became involved in blockchain and really when it became clear to you that this is something that you needed to pay attention to?
It's funny, blockchain's been around since 2009, right? That's when it was officially invented by this pseudonym individual. But long story short is that for me around 2012 or 13, I started to realize that it was such an important technology because it solved one of these fundamental issues in computer science that have been plaguing or challenging that industry for 60 years, which is this concept of how do you delegate trust? Like, that's a big question. And so once I was able to get my own head wrapped around it, it took me several years, then I started to realize how much it will affect what we were doing as a company.
And moving along with that same thought is, it's been around for quite some time now. Indeed. Since the Satoshi paper.
10 years old now.
10 years old.
Yeah.
So how do you see it playing out in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
I suspect, maybe I'm optimistic, but I suspect that there will be more fundamental change to the blockchain technology over the next 5 years than has happened in the last 10. And the reason I say that is because we are now starting to understand as an industry what is needed to really make this viable in a production and enterprise environment. We spend a lot of our time in enterprise. So when you start to think about things like redaction of information that's private, privacy in general, scalability, these are all things that major corporations need if they're going to take this seriously. And so now that the appetite is there, people understand it, I think we're going to see a lot more movement into enterprise-ready solutions that are based on blockchain.
Great. It's heading in the right direction,
hopefully.
I hope so, yeah. Quicker rather than what's happened in the last 10 years.
Indeed.
So tell me, in a field it seems to be sometimes dominated by a homogeneous set of people, let's just say white males. What would you say to somebody who's not part of that group, who's interested in the technology and moving forward with something like the blockchain?
It's such an important question. It's blockchain, or I'll say fintech in general, is such an important intersection of several disciplines, right? You've got economics, you've got philosophy, you've got psychology. You can get into game theory and some even computer science, technology, or even mathematics, of course, with cryptography. So these are industries and fields that should be covered by everybody. And it's a fairly well-known fact that diverse teams build the best teams, and build and solve the best problems, solve the problems best. And so, in short, we really want to see, at least in our space, a diverse set of group of people to come in and really bring their best knowledge and expertise. And diversity goes across different directions, right? It's, of course, gender, sexuality, race, creed, origin, religion, et cetera, but also experience, life experience, professional experience. All that will be necessary for us to build this next generation blockchain. So I would tell anyone interested in this, absolutely join. Better time than ever to do it today.
Absolutely, and well said, thanks.
Sure.
So how do you say blockchain technology is affecting or disrupting the business that you're in the next few years? It's been said that it's a disruptive technology, and that many companies are going to be, or many industries are going to be vastly affected by that.
I'll choose automotive because we spend a lot of time there ourselves. Automotive industry, unlike many other major industries, is experiencing incredible inbound disruption. So this is something to the effect of autonomy, electrification of vehicles, ride sharing, connectivity. These are changing the way in which OEM automakers sell their vehicles today, or perhaps may be unable to sell their vehicles in the future. So we're helping them with blockchain tech to rethink how they make revenue, their top line, their profit center, right? Not cost center. This isn't efficiency increases. This is new top line revenue. If you could change the way you sell your vehicle from a vehicle as a product to a vehicle as a platform on which we build products and services, that might be a way out for them. But this is a pretty fundamental shift for them. Many of them are 5 years away from their pension. They're not really ready to have these discussions right now. They would rather just kind of get out. And so it takes time. But I do believe that sort of disruption, it will be as fundamental as that in industries like automotive.
Wow, that's interesting. And so I know you have a particular expertise in Industry of Things, or IoT, as we sometimes call it. So how do you see that playing specifically in your realm?
So without sounding too idealistic, if we think about what the original internet, World Wide Web was, with academic research papers, gray backgrounds, blue links, and researchers sharing data with each other, and then along comes this concept called e-commerce, which changed completely and enabled companies like Alibaba and Amazon and eBay and Craigslist, massive organizations, entire industries came up from that. I believe very strongly that if you combine transactive capability, economic capability into things in the Internet of Things, it could be just as big, because there are, presumably, will be as many things that would be connected as there are websites or Internet is today. Like, it's hundreds of millions or billions, and I think Cisco claims 20 billion devices by 2020.
Wow.
So
amazing.
It could be amazing.
And so, given that the Internet of Things and all this connectivity is happening there, what makes blockchain the unique application or platform in which to build on, as opposed to technologies that we currently have available today?
I like to joke that the blockchain is terrible at almost everything, but it's very good at one thing, and that is establishing trust without a central authority. And it's not so much like decentralization as some sort of anarchistic dream, but really, when you have mutual parties that need to establish a single authority to make decisions, we lose some additional value that otherwise we could have if there was a way to decentralize the authority through this validation network thing called a blockchain. So it's a little bit philosophical, but when you have something that can do that, and the blockchain, to my knowledge, is the first technology ever that's been able to solve this, it then lets you start to solve major issues that today are current trust systems, things like everything from county recorders to notaries to major Big Four auditing firms have to establish their own trust. It starts to disrupt them because we can now delegate that trust capability into a technology, which is exciting in my mind.
Absolutely. So, kind of just finishing off the conversation, we at Portland State, as you know, are embarking upon a certification program for business students, as opposed to the technical side. We see a lot of in blockchain right now as being really driven by the technology side. So how do you see that in terms of the need for that sort of a skill at the business level?
Absolutely essential. I can't stress this enough, that the technical side of blockchain is important and necessary, but without understanding the business consequences and the flip side of that, the business opportunities that that are made available with technology like blockchain, then none of that technology matters, right? Business is about bringing value. I don't even think it's about profits. It's about bringing value to shareholders, but also to people, customers, and hopefully society overall. And to do that, you must have a business mind and a business perspective. And so to have this sort of program, I think, will be essential for realizing that next generation of blockchain tech that we were talking about.
Excellent. Well, with that, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.